Okay, Virtual Doll Convention, we are here at Derek Redding's studio out here in Denver, Colorado for our hand building class. Someone's at the door. Someone's at the door. Oh, who is that? Who is that?
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
We are good. How are you?
Welcome. Thank you.
Did you expect to be doing a virtual class when I asked you a couple days ago?
No, I did not.
But you know what? Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, so we're excited. So we're going to build a miniature cup and saucer, and we are here in Derek's studio, which is Flux Studio and Gallery in Denver, Colorado, which you guys can like on Facebook and follow on Instagram if you do. And you are a professional teacher, so you teach all the time, but have you ever taught a miniature course?
No, this will be a first.
Well, I love it. Okay, so
good luck to us all.
Good luck to us all. All right. So where do we start?
All right, so we're going to
This
start
is what we're
with
making, everybody.
Yep.
And these are tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny.
Yeah,
so cute.
I have enough clay to make probably 100 of these right here. So all we need is a small amount. I'm going to use a little extra just in case. So we're going to take a little chunk like that, and I'm just going to kind of mash it down a little bit.
What kind of clay is this?
This is stoneware.
Stoneware.
This is a sand-free, grit-free, grog-free clay. High fire stoneware clay. So I'm just kind of mashing it out a bit, and then I'm going to take my little roller here and just start to push this out. And I want it as even as possible, just like anything. So I'm just kind of working this out, and again, I don't need much of this, hardly any at all. Oop.
So if you guys are at home, you could use a rolling pin, or you can just flatten it out.
You can just keep
with a plate or just
out.
something.
Yep, by your hand, plate anything you want at all. Because I'll show you, we're going to smooth this down here in a minute once we get to our desired thickness. It's getting closer. Now, another good trick that you could do, we're going to go, that's about as thick as we want to go. So if you can find something that you can stack on either side of your clay, and you can use this as a guide, so you know it will be even and you'll get the desired thickness. So that's good enough for us right now. It's, you can see it's a little lower than that. So yardsticks probably are not, you could go a little thicker. I wouldn't go any thicker than this. So once we have our thickness, we're gonna take this, it's a rubber rib. You can use an old hotel room key card, old library cards, anything at all. You don't have to have a special tool to smooth this down. And I am just raking this across, just smoothing it out and really getting rid of, excuse me, all this texture that the canvas leaves once we press into it. So I'm just getting rid of all that texture, okay?
Now, would it be better to use a non-canvas, non-textured surface?
I have a lot of canvas because we have a large slab roller that rolls out big sheets of clay. So that's what we press the clay with. It's, it's nice to work on because your stuff doesn't stick.
Okay.
But, just get rid of that canvas texture, whatever you do. So
now there's just still a little texture. Does that matter?
So if there's a little texture, that's okay. Some people don't mind it. I don't mind it, because we're going to cut a bunch of this out. So just use the part that is smooth or on the inside of your piece. Does that make sense? This would be the inside of the cup as we roll it up. So now when I cut this next strip, I'm cutting the height of the mug. So I'm going to go, it's hard to say, a little less than half an inch. Maybe right there. That ought to be good. About 3/8, a little thicker. Okay, so now we've got the height of our mug, which maybe, let's see, is that a little too short? Let's have a quick peek at our other one. No, that's about right. So we're gonna stick with that. I'm just gonna trim one end square. And so we need just enough to wrap it all the way around. Do we wanna make one? Do you like this size better? Or do you wanna
I
make
like
it a
them
little
both.
larger?
The larger one's good
This is
because
getting a little
these
big,
are,
I imagine.
but for a doll, it's still not that big.
Okay.
Because we got dolls of every
Okay,
size.
cool. So we're probably gonna go a little bit in between there somewhere. So maybe right about there. Okay. Notice how I cut that off at an angle. Do you see that bevel?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be important to help smear this together and wrap it around. So now, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna wrap it around my needle tool. Because it's so short, if I just went to bend it, it would just crack and it wouldn't be round. So I'm gonna use this, but before I seal this up, I'm going to take just a little bit of water. You know, oftentimes in clay when we're putting handles or making attachments, we're scoring and slipping. This is so small and I'm gonna work this together so much that I'm comfortable with just using the water. So now that I'm on that seam, I'm just gonna work this together a little bit and just kind of get rid of that seam. Okay, so now we kind of have that wrapped up and sealed. Now, while it's on here, I'm gonna kind of twist this around. And what that's going to do is give this mug or this cup a taper. So it doesn't look like just a thimble with a handle. So it has a little bit of form to it. And I'm just kind of rolling it around, just working it down. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
See how that's coming down a little bit? Okay. So that's pretty tall actually. We're gonna trim that down a little bit. I need to get another needle tool real quick. So I've got another needle tool and we have to put a bottom in this and we want it to be flat. You'll see it's kind of sticking up there and it's here a little bit. So I'm just going to trim this as round and straight as I can right now. Just kind of get rid of this excess. Just get rid of all this clay. Okay, that's pretty good. And don't worry, we've got a lot of adjustments to do with this to make it right. So now I'm gonna slide, is that tall enough? Do you like the height of that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now I'm just gonna slide this off. Okay, so there we have a rough form of our mug body. The lip is entirely too thick and we need a bottom in it as well as a handle, obviously. So you grab my little torch real quick. So because this is so soft, any additions or putting the bottom in this, it's really gonna warp it and twist it. So I wanna just dry it up a little bit. So I just have a little fire. I'm just gonna stick her back on there a little bit and just toast it like a marshmallow.
Kind of makes me want a s'more.
S'mores are good.
S'mores are good.
Okay. Don't want to get too close because I don't want it to dry up, but I need it to firm up a little bit. I don't want it to distort while I'm working with it too much yet. Okay. I think that's probably good. Okay, yeah, that's much firmer. Now, the next thing I'd like to do is kind of get the shape set a little bit more and thin that lip down. And I'm going to do that by using this needle again. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in there and I'm just going to kind of I'm squeezing with the needle and with, whoop, got a little dry right there, that's okay. There we go. Just kind of squeezing it out a little bit, just thinning that lip down. If it cracks up like this, don't panic. We'll get a little water on it. This clay is very resilient and very strong. So now I'm just kind of swooping the whole thing out a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna put just a touch of water on here to bring it back to life a little bit. Just add some water. Cracks be gone. Okay. So I'm just still working this lip down right now. Okay. It's all right, it's cracking a little bit more. We'll get there.
It's looking
Pretty rough.
pretty
right
crackly.
now. Hang on. I got a little excited with the torch here. That's the great thing about clay. No matter what you do to it, with some exceptions, you can always bring it back to life.
That's awesome to know.
Yeah. Okay. Getting there. Let's clean all this out. Just taking a sponge and just cleaning all this up. Okay.
That's cute.
Getting there.
Yeah.
A little bit more refinement, a little more work. I do need that to dry out a little bit more, but I don't want to make it crack again.
Okay, so we just let it
yeah, we're gonna
sit
let
for a
that
bit and
sit
then
for
come
a
back?
minute.
Okay.
Yep, just let that sit
All
for
right,
a second.
we'll be right back. And we are back. So this is looking pretty darn good.
Yeah, we saved it a little bit. It is easy to dry this out too much while you're doing this, but I just torched it a little bit, or you can just let it dry, and then you can really be a little more aggressive in cleaning up all those lines and the inside of the cup. Look at that coming together
That's
nicely,
cute.
right? See how thin that lip looks now? And now we work really hard to try and round it out and smooth it down, because that's really, again, you can't get your fingers. I can't even, I can't get in there. So we have to use tools. But we're going to put the bottom in this right now. So just kind of cleaning everything up. I am pretty happy with how that looks.
It's looking pretty good.
Not too bad. Okay? All
Okay.
right. So now there are two ways we can do this. And I decided that what we would normally do if we're hand building full-size cups is we would put a slab. We would roll out a slab and stick it to the bottom. And that's all fine and well, but I don't want to have to worry about smoothing this edge down and dealing with all the extra clay that we need to make that attachment. So what we're going to do, instead of putting a slab on the bottom, we're going to essentially put a little rivet in the bottom, and I'm going to smash it down in there. So I'm just going to take a very small amount of clay,
Rip skin.
and I'm going to kind of roll it into a little tapered kind of carrot looking thing. Whoop.
Okay.
Okay. Now, to make sure this bond's good, I'm just going to reach in here and I'm just going to kind of scuff all this up where the attachment is going to be, where the two pieces of clay are going to meet. I'm just kind of scuffing it up a little bit. Then just a little water. And you know what? We'll just dip this guy in the water. And then I'm going to set that down in there. Just like
Okay.
that.
Did not expect that.
All right, I'm gonna push this, I'm gonna put this against the flat surface, and I'm going to push this down until it makes the bottom,
Oh, how cute.
okay?
I keep saying everything's cute, but it's so, miniatures are just so cute.
Yeah, okay, so I found out by doing this, it kind of pushes the form out. It kind of made it a little fat on the bottom, you see that? So just ever so gently, I'm just going to kind of work this back in a little bit, because the clay is still pliable at this point, and I can still drastically change the shape. So I'm just kind of rolling this gently, softly. I'm not worried about if the bottom's flat or not yet, because it's definitely not. Okay. And then there's our form again.
Good job.
All right. So we're going to take our water. And see at our inside, we got a little plug, and you can maybe see that. Take a wet paintbrush, and I'm just gonna work this all down, and just kind of smooth this all down so it's nice and clean and finished looking. And no more plug.
All right.
Okay, so that's looking pretty good. One more pass with the sponge, just constantly keeping this clean and making sure it is where I want it to be. It's looking pretty good. Okay. All right, let's set that down a second. And we're gonna roll out our handle real quick. So, just a little, I mean, that's enough for like probably 10 of these handles, if not more. But I always need a little bit more to work with so I can actually handle it. So, just a little piece of clay, and I'm going to, with one finger, just roll a nice tapered coil. See how I'm tapering that down again? Okay. Just working that down. Even halfway down is probably a little fat for how small the mug is. So I'm gonna make this a little bit longer. Okay, it's getting closer. It's getting closer. All right, I think that we can probably work with. Okay. So once we have that, tell you what, let's look at this real quick. Let's flatten the bottom of this out. Just take your sponge, a little water, and just see how flat that gets? And you can check it if you have a nice flat surface. It looks like it's leaning a little bit. So let's pull, maybe only I can see it.
No, we can see it.
Okay, good. So let's pull the high side down a little bit more. Need to work that side down. And I can even take something like this. See how clean and straight that
Yeah, that
blade
works
is?
well.
Right. Okay.
Better.
Better. All right. So let's get this handle cut. So I think we're going to use probably, that's probably still too much. Because now what I want to do, I don't really like the round handle. I'm going to take my little roller and I'm just going to give it a little. Okay. There's my handle. Okay. You notice the texture on there? Let's just kind of see if we can buff some of that out real quick. Because yeah, that canvas can be, you know, it's not my favorite texture.
It really is cute to see you do this because I've watched you make these normal size. So it's just so funny to see them. It's the same, kind of the same practice.
If anyone else would have asked, I would have said no.
Oh, yeah?
All right, so let's start to form this handle. I'm going to use this needle tool again. I'm going to put the first curve into it. Okay, so you kind of see the handle a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that hard to see?
Nope, we can see it.
All right, so then that's actually, I think, going to be a really good size handle. Let's just pluck that off there a minute and set that down because we're going to attach it. On our cup, if we can see where the seam is, that's where we want to put the handle. That will ensure that nothing comes unraveled. And I would do this for any mug of any size. I'm now going to score where I'm going to make the attachment on the mug. Okay, so that's scored. I would generally use some slip to make this attachment, but I feel comfortable with how small and you know, these aren't going to be going in the dishwasher every day or tossed around in the sink. A little water is just fine. So just dab, 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 dab. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take our handle. See how I have it curved? And also how it's tapered. I like how a tapered handle looks on a mug. So we're going to put this. Here's the fun part.
See if we can.
There we go. I just had to set that down. You can
just
see
set
how
it right
I'm
on
setting
top.
it.
Okay.
Yep, so that's our top attachment point. And now I need to make some. I need to apply a little pressure here. I need to put a little contact pressure so this sticks well. However, if I just push, I'm gonna crack or collapse my mug and get it out of round. So what I need to do is probably put something on the inside like that. And then I can kind of roll this in a little bit. See how I'm just kind of rolling that down, and it's also kind of giving it a really nice line and a nice form, an attachment point on the top of that handle. So once I have that up, now I'm gonna bring this down. Ooh, let's get that out of there a sec. 2 hands. Okay, so I need to push this down, but I need to bring that curve down as well. So bring it down, down, okay. Now I'm gonna make my attachment on the bottom by kicking this bottom in, just like that. And I'm gonna just roll that down a little bit. Okay. I can also make some more adjustments at this point. If I don't like the arc of this handle, I can drop it down a little bit by adding a little pressure, but I like how tucked up it is right there. I think it looks pretty good. Then, the last thing I'll do, a little water, not much, and first, I'm gonna cut the bottom of this handle off right here. So the last thing I'm going to do before I clean all this up is I'm gonna see how this is kind of low, the attachment's a little low. I'm just gonna create a little separation between the end of the handle and the bottom of the mug. Does that make sense? So there's a little space right there. Just kind of gives it a nice breaking point. And I'll just define it a little bit. Maybe tuck it up. There we go. Okay. All right, so now, a little water. And I'm just gonna reach in here and just kind of go over all this. And this is just gonna soften all the attachments. And it's going to clean everything up. Just crispen the form up really nicely. I'm gonna tuck the bottom of this handle in just a little bit more. Can you see what I'm doing here?
Yes, we sure can. Look at that, everybody. Also, we moved Murray because he was a bit of a distraction. He's doing just fine, but he was wanting all the attention.
There we go. See how I tuck that up a little bit more? Okay. There is our cup.
It is so sweet. I wish you could make 100 of them for us, but they take a lot of time.
They take a fair amount of time. Not bad. Once once I make 10 or 20, I'll have a pretty good system. So
good.
Maybe we'll make a few extra.
Good. I hope so. All right. So
the next thing we're going to do is, do you want to take a break?
all right, now we are back for part 2. Hi, Derek.
Hey.
Thank you for having us. This is so fun.
Thanks for coming.
So we are at Flux Studio and Gallery, which is Derek's professional studio out here in Colorado, and he teaches lessons 4 to 5 days a week, and this is so cool. So now we're gonna make the platter, or the saucer.
The saucer. So I've got my wheel, and I guess I kind of lied. This is a wheel we are using, but not
Okay.
an electric wheel per se. And you don't even need to use this, and you'll see why that I use this later on. It just makes it much more simple to cut a perfectly round dish. Okay, you can get these run about $90. These are from Shimpo. These are really nice. But you can get this on Amazon for $7.
Okay.
So it just
That's
does
awesome.
carry. Yeah, it doesn't carry the momentum and the weight that this one does. But I use this all the time in the studio as well. So got a little piece of clay, and it's much more than I need, of course. I'm gonna put it right down in the middle. I've kind of worked it down a little bit, and I can even just kind of work it down a little bit more. And I'm going to take my roller and just roll this out to my desired thickness. Try and make it as flat and even as you can, at least the part that you will be using for the dish. Okay, I think that's probably good. Okay, that should be enough. So now, when I give this a good spin, it really holds its speed. So I'm going to cut a circle now. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to torch this a little bit because this is really good and stuck here, and I don't want to gum up the dish any more than I already have making this cut. So I'm just kind of drying this out quickly so that when I go to peel it out of there, yeah, that should be good. It comes off a little nicer. And I didn't need to use this much clay, but you get the idea. So, looks very rough right now, but that's okay. we will fix it. So the first thing, let's get that edge all cleaned up. I think I'll take one more pass with this needle. Trim it down just a little bit more.
This is one of my favorite parts. What do you guys think out there, all of our conventioneers? I think this part's so cool.
Okay. Clay is still very sticky and wet, as you can see. So, okay. Now I'm gonna take my sponge, a little bit of water, and I'm gonna give this another good spin, and I'm just gonna soften this edge down first. Just clean that edge up. Okay, now I'm gonna give it one more good spin, just a little bit of water, and I'm actually gonna kind of push down in the middle a little bit and just pull that out. Okay, one more time, a little more water. Kind of cleaning that under edge as well, cleaning that top edge, and then one more little indentation in the middle for our cup to sit in. Sponge at the top, a little wider. There's our dish. Let's see if we can get those chunks off the bottom before we peel it off there. There they are. Great. I think we can give that, we'll get it with the sponge. Okay, so let's torch this really good because we're gonna peel it off here. It's stuck down pretty good. Unfortunately, we need it to be stuck so that we can shape it a little bit. So you can see I'm hitting it pretty good, pretty aggressively. If you dry this too quickly, it will crack. So you have to be careful and thoughtful with how you're using the fire on here. I think we can get that off there. Let's see how loose. Not quite there. A little bit more. Okay, got it off. It's a little chunky. Let's turn it upside down first and make sure that the bottom is not, that the center is not higher than the outside edges so it sits flat. So I'm just gently pushing that down. Get a look at this side. And now, let's take our sponge and really clean this edge up. See how soft that goes? Just that little extra bit. And there's our little dish.
Good job, honey.
All right, let's see how it looks with our cup.
Where did our cup go?
It's right here.
It's a big dish, but
It's kind of big, isn't it? We might have to, yeah.
it's
kind
all
of
right.
a salad plate.
Okay, it's a salad plate.
So I should have, measured.
But
I do have a
it's-
set of calipers and,
Right.
we could have pulled it. But with the bigger cup, maybe, here we go. Maybe this cup goes on that dish. Still a little big, isn't it?
But it's nice to have a dinner plate or a salad plate to go with your
Yes.
mug.
Well,
so
there's the other plates
I'm here
I made
for it.
yesterday. That's a little more appropriate.
They are so awesome.
This guy.
Good job. So now what would be this next step?
So they dry, and then they get bisque fired, and then they get dipped in glaze and fired again.
I love them. I'll take 100.
Well, we will get as many as we can. How's
Good.
that?
Yes, sounds good to me. What do you guys think? Wasn't that interesting and fun? I hope you guys enjoyed this workshop with Derek. It's his first time ever making a miniature, so I think he just did such a great job, and I think that we could make a lot more fun miniature stuff in the
I
future.
thought they'd be fun little necklaces. What do you
See,
think of that?
see, he wanted to make
Long
necklaces out of them, everybody, but
Maggie earrings.
they're for dolls and miniature teddy bears. Like, he thinks jewelry, but I'm thinking for the dolls to have at tea time. What do you guys think? Yeah, this is like, they can use these.
Right.
The dolls can use these. And our little vocalist, Murray, he's having a good time. All right, so great job, Derek. That was so much fun.
Yeah, thank
I'm looking
you.
forward to doing more, and thank you for all of your contributions to the virtual convention.
My
You have been
pleasure.
a little rock star.
Thank you guys.
All right, bye.
See ya.